All right, welcome back, tennis fans, to our podcast. This is a November podcast for Which Side Do You Want? Again, here this evening, we've got my cohort, James. Sandra, we still miss you. We know you're still under the weather, but we look forward to seeing you next month. But let's get it going, man. So how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Ruffin. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, dog.
Good.
So let's just get to it. The ATP Finals just happened.
Oh, man.
What'd you think?
We talked about this already.
Right.
We knew as long as Sinner and Alcaraz are healthy, they would be in the finals.
And guess what? They were in the finals.
They were in the finals. And the finals, to me, it was, even though it went straight sets, but they were two well-fought sets.
Yeah.
And I think these two players just have set themselves up over everyone else.
Yeah.
And just the tennis was amazing. Alcaraz, even though, they had a tough first set, won that tiebreaker, and I think not winning that tiebreaker and then his injury he had, I think that kind of added. Though, when they're both even on an even keel, it's something. And when one has a little tweak or one's a little off, that it could throw it, in the other one's favor real quick. But
because I believe that's what happened the last time they faced off. At least during the summer months, Yannick got dehydrated, or he got food poisoning or something.
Yeah.
And it was not even close.
That. Yeah.
But same thing happened.
But when they're got both guns blazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It is a true coin flip.
Jeez. And Sinner has obviously tweaked his game a little bit more. That serve has now become a bona fide weapon. His movement on the court is a lot better, and they just keep coming up with ways to improve.
Oh yeah.
When they match up against each other. I think they design their games to play each other, and that's what a true rivalry is at the top.
We are in the midst of the next big two. Yeah. So absolutely. I mean, the Jimmy Connors group had some promise. Alcaraz was facing off against De Minaur, his first one. Yeah. Taylor Fritz, his second one. Musetti, who just got off of a win, or not necessarily win because he lost to Novak, but he just finished a deciding factor, and he had to thank Novak, even though he lost to him in the finals. Because he decided not to play, which we kind of talked about the last podcast.
Right.
He gets to play in his first ATP finals. So, the Bjorn Borg group was even more of a one-sided affair because every match that Sinner played was just lopsided.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Amazing.
But again, great finals match. Unfortunately, I missed it, but what did you think?
I thought, excuse me, I think it was a classic match between the two best players on the ATP, without a doubt. Yeah. And even though it was a straight set victory for Sinner, it was close. Yeah. And it could have turned at any moment. Sinner just got on top, and he stayed on top and just held on long enough. It was a lot, even though it was close, but it was even more closer than we were. I mean, they were just amazing shots. And they just refused to go down. They exchanged breaks of service for a while, and then they came back, and that was, Sinner was able to hold his together toward the end, and that was the difference, I think, in the match. But just an incredible match, one that you would have expected from these two players of that caliber.
That's good. Mm-hmm. And even though Carlos lost, he still got to his first goal, which was to get to the number one spot of the year. And so he won that when he won his group, which was great for him. So we expect big things and more exciting things for him going forward, and they're going to start to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Although, another first entrance, because you had three of them, FAA, Felix, FAA.
Aja Ali Yassin.
Thank you. She showed promise. He fights really well against Sinner, and I've mentioned that before. But Ben Shelton, he may not have had quite the results that he wanted at the year end, but still, the fact that he got to the final 8 at the year, says a lot about his game. And as long as he's continuing to improve, you gotta got to think that, the sky's the limit for Ben, and we wish him well going forward.
Yeah, I still see Ben Shelton as a work in progress, and he comes so close and he battles. I think they're going to have to do some things. His serve is now starting to become, even though he still has the heat, but players are starting to predict it more. They stay back for it. They can, remember, these are the best players in the world. Right. So there maybe, to me, I think he needs to be able to put a little more spin on that serve, not so flat, and get that serve to break away from players. With that speed, if he gets it to hit where it cuts and breaks away from players, that can be a dangerous thing. To be scary to think about what he could be.
If he had that Nadal hook where he just pulls the player off the court, it's just going to be and back it up by either with a solid backhand, which he doesn't quite have consistently enough that can hurt the players. Right. And I've always been saying this, top tier players, you look at Yannick and Carlos, you look at their numbers, they not only their backhands are lethal, but it's the one aspect that I think we don't talk about in the sport, their returner serves. Right. They are always top 3 in the rankings when it comes to percentage of returns of serve. That is always key. That's why Novak is possibly the GOAT, because what do you always see him do? He is by far the greatest returner of serve that we've ever seen. So you add that to his athleticism, the improvement in other aspects of his game, fitness, diet and his endurance. All of that makes him, but it starts with that return and serve. Yeah.
And he still battles every match. I mean, he is competitive and he could potentially win. And my thing, like I said before, about him going up against Sinner Alcaraz in a Grand Slam, as long as they're in there, I don't see him ever winning another Grand Slam. However, best of 3, he's in the mix. He's in the mix. And, I think he is, though. I think he has, in a best of 3 tournament right now. Now, we don't know what's going to happen next year. And he is, 38?
He turns 39 next year.
39, okay. So that's that. He's coming to that threshold that they all hit when they hit that wall.
Right.
Very few emerge after that at the top. However, if anybody's going to do it, I would give him, I would put my money on him that he can make it another year or two, maybe into his 40s, his early 40s, if he wants to. That's where it comes to. If his desire is there to play at that highest level, then I think, he will still be competitive. And let's face it, Djokovic at 40 or 41 years of age is still better than 90%
of the world. Yeah, I got it.
World. I would put him up outside of, like I said, outside of the top, the top 2.
Right.
Or maybe I will put him up against anybody on any given day.
But
the slams are going to be tougher, though. That's just
But I like to mention Novak because that kind of rolls into our next topic for this podcast, Hall of Fame of 2026.
Oh,
the nominees for next year have come out, and these are some really, really notable names. I'll go ahead and list them. Great class. Roger Federer, 20 slams, considered the GOAT. Probably the all-time favorite player.
They could have put him in last year. I'd have voted for him. The day he finished, retired,
probably
put him in the Hall of Fame.
Right. Another fan favorite. Love to see him play when he was playing. Juan Martín del Potro. His only slam happened to be the U.S. Open, but what is a glory? He beat Roger
Federer. In a great match. And it's sad, too, because injuries got the best of him.
Right.
I would have liked to seen, had he not had those injuries, how far he could have gone with his game.
Absolutely.
And I just remember that forehand.
That forehand was
my gosh. Remember the Olympics when he was just blasting people, and it wasn't even funny. He played. Well, it was funny, but it was very entertaining. But
you just didn't want to be on the other end.
You didn't want to be on the other end. That's like a howitzer, man. Just.
On the women's side, you've got Svetlana Kuznetsova. Kutsi. She's up for consideration for the Hall. I loved her game. She was a hustler. She worked hard, and it always came out in her game. She won 2 slams. She never made it to number 1 in the world, but she definitely deserves to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, she does.
Kudos to her.
Like you said, a workhorse.
A workhorse.
She worked,
she definitely worked.
Yeah.
Not on the player side, but on the commentator side, now Mary Carrillo is up for consideration for the Hall. She did play early on, but we know her as a beautiful commentator who gives really good insight and was always complimentary of the players that she talked about.
At times controversial too. She made some statements and things. However, but she does have a Grand Slam.
Right.
There's the French Open mixed doubles
with John McEnroe.
With Johnny Mac. You know, she'll always have that.
Right.
But yeah, she was more. We know her more as an analyst than we did as a player. Now I do remember when she played. That's how old I am. Yeah. But she was, in the early days of professional women's tennis. In the 70s and 80s and that sort of time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we hope all four of those players and contributors get a chance to shine, and hopefully they will. Not hopefully. We're more than likely they will be ushered into the Hall of Fame next year. So. Which leads us to our last and final talking point for today. We're coming up to the year end, so let's just talk about the Squeegee Awards. We started out our Squeegee Awards a couple years ago. We're trying to get some momentum behind them, so our next episode will be sort of a fun award ceremony where we give out awards to some various players throughout the season, so be on the lookout for that. So you got anything else?
No, man. Squeegee Awards are so important.
It is.
I can't even think of anything else that would take
take
any edge off of the squeegees. Right. I mean, people are calling in from all over the world, and a couple of players want to come in.
That's right.
And they get mad at us if we give them wrong.
If we leave them out, you're right.
Exactly. But right.
But hey, look forward to coming back to us and look for the Squeegee Awards 2025 edition. Without anything else.
Oh, well, one other thing.
Okay.
Can anybody break into the top two next year? Will they win? Will they sweep the Grand Slam titles next year?
We'll pose that as a question.
That's going to be a question. I'm just leaving that for the end of 2025. Exactly.
Yeah, let's do that.
Will they sweep all Grand Slam titles?
That's a good question. So you heard it here first, folks. Will the top two, Jannik Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, sweep next year's slams? All right, so tune in if you want to know whether or not that happens to which side do you want. So as we always say,
go out and hit the tennis ball.